Welcome to Start Dakota, a show by Startup Sioux Falls where we dispel misconceptions about starting a business, uncover unique challenges faced by founders, highlight today's problem solvers, and build a stronger startup community for tomorrow. This project is powered by the SBA. Now, here's your host, Brienne Maner.
Welcome back to another episode of Start Dakota. I am your host, Brienne Maner with Startup Sioux Falls, and I am here today with one of my favorite people. His name is Terry Liggins. He probably needs no introduction, but for those that are listening,
yes,
tell us a little bit about Terry and your business.
Oh, thank you so much, Brienne, for having me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I love shining my light. You know, I love telling my story. I love using it as a tool to connect with other people to get them to tell their own story.
Yeah.
So I've got a pretty interesting one coming from Nebraska about 20 years ago for college at USD in Vermilion. Coming up on 20 years from that first enrollment there at the university. And now you fast forward, I'm the CEO of a firm called TLC Services. Also, I'm a nonprofit founder of Hurdle Life Coach Foundation. And what we do is mentor and coach and guide and offer facilitation services as well to organizations looking to build bridges with different people from different communities. And my cup overflows with the work I get to do.
I can tell. It literally radiates off of you. So what's your why, Terry? Why do you do this?
I got a few whys that keep me going. You know, but the biggest thing too is realizing that community is really, really important and it matters for families. I got a school-age daughter. She's 10 years old, going to school right here. And I want this community to be a safe place for her. I want it to be filled with opportunities for her to explore whatever it is that she's interested in. And I want that same thing for every other person's family. So my investment into community as a partner and as a role model is so that all people's families can have like prosperous, safe upbringing. So
Right.
there's that in it for me. There's also the inspiration that it is
Right.
to be a person of color and to be a business owner, to be a founder. I know that sends a message to a lot of other kids like me. They may not be exactly like me, but we're very similar in some of our conditions and some of our upbringing. And I know that by being in business for myself, by letting my vision come to fruition, that's also giving people hope that they can have the same thing happen for them in their lives too.
Absolutely. Well said. And I think we speak the same language when it comes to children, right?
Yeah.
Once you have one, that becomes your why.
Yeah.
And I think that resonates with a lot that people.
Yeah.
We're a family-oriented community for a reason. Even if you don't have your own family, you find a family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That is so great. I want to talk about business.
Okay.
So clearly you've got the entrepreneurial bug, the spirit, the fire behind you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your business journey. How did you get started? What were some of the roadblocks and what were the resources that you leaned on to get to where you are?
Yeah. So I got started about 3 years ago as far as the full-time journey of it.
Okay.
I had incorporated 1 year prior to going full-time just out of a desire to do something with this burn, that I had on the inside of me to just do more than what I was able to do in my employment environment. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, are doing a job, but they've kind of got this something burning on the inside of them, something they just want to do more beyond the job that they have. So
what was your job prior to doing this? Where were you working?
it was similar. So I was working for a nonprofit, Lutheran Social Services.
Oh, you were, okay.
And I was providing reentry support
Okay.
for adults that were coming out of incarceration as a work trainer. And
Right.
it was wonderful. And I learned so much there in my almost 3 years of employment. But I also knew that I wanted to go deeper than the scope of my role.
Okay.
And that I wanted to provide education across the state, that I wanted to work with stakeholders that were working with justice impacted people and ACEs impacted people. And I just wanted to do more than I had the space to do there. And then in 2020, the employment ended there and I had the opportunity. 2020
A lot of things ended in 2020, right?
Yeah. and I had the opportunity to just go full time in this, idea that I had about, being a motivator and an educator and someone that can inspire other people. And so I did that, just went out, and now it's been 3 years. And, one of the biggest hurdles for me is continuing to understand how business works, the strategic thinking of business, the infrastructure of business, the regulation of business. In my upbringing, I didn't have that type of mentorship around me. I'm a first generation business owner. I don't have an uncle or a mom that can taught me the way business works. I had the passion, the spirit, the faith, but the understanding of how to incorporate and how to be gosh, stay in good standing.
Yeah.
With the laws of the land and things like that. That was all a learning curve for me. And I've been able to surround myself now with advisors and resources and things like that to help me. And now after 3 years, I've learned quite a bit, and I'm able to pay that forward to now in that way.
Clearly, there are a lot of problems in society,
Sure.
and they stem from all different walks of life. You mix people together in a community, and there's going to be some conflict, right? I'm curious, and I know that there's probably a bunch of different answers to this, but what is the number one problem you are trying to solve that you haven't seen movement on? What are you frustrated about that you're really trying to get at here?
Yeah, that's a good question. If I can say it simply
Yes.
and even safely,
Yes.
I believe it's allowing our differences to be something that threatens other people. Being uncomfortable with someone else's differentness than you.
Yep.
We call that diversity, and call it whatever else you want. It's that when people don't look like you, or if they didn't have the same upbringing that you had, or their conditions were different than you, I think our society, our community see differences, and there's more hesitation to engage someone that's different than you than an interest,
Right.
or curiosity. And if we can just all be more curious and interested and have reverence for the cross-cultural experience and reverence for other people's culture, I think we would just be in such a more prosperous place, because now when a person who's different from you in culture feel safe with you, now they can unlock or unleash their whole self. And now we just get a collaboration of our cultures and like a collision of beauty, because every culture has some beauty in it. And because of how we interact with each other cross-culturally, and we are more reserved at times, we limit this experience that is so beautiful when we humble ourselves, have the culture of humility,
Right.
humble ourselves to each other, and then all of a sudden inviting people to bring all of themselves to the experience,
Right.
and it just becomes so much more beautiful. So if we can
Absolutely.
just neutralize and beyond neutralize, have it be something that you deeply desire to get to know people that are different than you and to advocate for people that are different than you.
So I have to imagine that for some people, this type of environment, this process is invigorating. It's energy giving, and for others, it drains their energy.
Sure.
How difficult has it been for you to sell this idea to this community?
Wow.
And what have you learned? Like, how are you making inroads with people that are still very skeptical of the idea?
Yeah.
This is a very nebulous idea, right?
Sure.
Like, people like dollars and cents.
Yeah.
They want to see the widget,
You're
the
right.
product. They want to know the end result.
Yeah.
Where here you are planting seeds.
Yeah.
How difficult has this road been for you?
It has hurdles.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep pointing back to that
Hurdles,
too, right?
yep.
Yeah, with the company and the coaching and consulting I do about hurdling the obstacles and barriers in life. There's hurdles there in every journey. I appreciate the candidness of the word difficulty. I like to reframe it and perceive it as these opportunities, and that helps me because they are difficult. But I have to do that work and constantly kind of reframe my journey, my experience with this journey, so that I can show up positive and optimistic and helpful.
Yeah.
But certainly it doesn't take away from the fact that, this work is against the current, it's upstream. But I'd be remiss not to really highlight and spotlight the people that are alongside of, and they are willing, they are ready, they are doing. And that is very invigorating. You know, we aren't absent of equitable programs and equitable solutions and policies being made. That's happening in the community. And I think it's important that we recognize that even with how much distance we still have yet to travel.
Sure.
Because if we get so caught up on what we haven't done yet, and we aren't seeing the slow motion that is still better than no motion, we miss out on the gratitude that is there for us to really celebrate. And I'm much more of a celebrator.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't take away from the challenge that's there, Brienne. But for me, I think what's so important again is treating everyone the way you would want to be treated. I think sometimes people in the community, they start to limit or restrict their amount of like compassion and empathy. Like the older you get, all of a sudden, some people are like thinking that person should have it figured out, if you will. And people are always figuring it out and still figuring it out and learning new things every day.
Yeah.
And so no matter the age or the position in the community, it's a human being.
Yeah.
Treat them with respect and dignity. And people are attacking people in authority or criticizing people in authority and systems. And my approach is different.
Right.
My approach is we're both human beings here. And where can we agree to partner as far as shared interests? And for me, when it comes to public safety, healthy families, I'm having conversations based on that.
Yeah.
I'm not having a conversation based on political ideology, religion ideology. That's not my lead in with my conversations, Brienne.
Right.
And this is
volatile.
how I'm able to make connections with, you know, law enforcement officers and, you know, people in the judicial system, even though I have a lived experience being on the other side of that.
I was just going to ask, what makes you qualified to do this work? Where does this come from? Where does your passion stem from?
Yeah, it's starting to show, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I want to know more.
Yeah, well, living it for myself.
Yep.
And helping so many other people who are living it too. You know, this is day in and day out for me. This is now my full-time work that I get to do. And my lived experience certainly fortifies me every single day with my passion of going through single parent home, having the challenge of trying to find who I am in my own identity. Growing up as a young adult, still not having it figured out yet, bumping my head some more, and then finding my way forward, you know, to where I'm at today with much more maturity, mentorship in my life, humility and gratitude in my life. And so it's that journey in itself that is my fuel. And then getting to help other people do the same thing fires me up just the same.
And everything that you're saying very much resonates in the world of entrepreneurship, right? You've got this grit, this passion, this fire, determination. It's like, it seems like you're completely risk averse, which is amazing. Let's talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey.
Okay.
What resources did you need to lean on to get to where you are? What community what community leaders did you reach out to? What programming, what education, how did you get here?
Yeah. Wow. That's such a good question.
Yeah.
There's so many people and places and things that have helped me, Brienne. I'd be remiss not to think about the early days of Startup Sioux Falls, though.
Yeah.
Before,
when we were the South Dakota Technology and Business Center?
Not that long ago.
Or Zeal Center. The Zeal days?
Yeah, the Zeal days. And also the Startup Sioux Falls, right? When I mean like those mixers that used to happen at Queen City Bakery and some of those things. And there was a time where I was in those rooms and I was on the fence. But being in that room where there was other people who had jumped off the fence, again, that was always something that was helping to cultivate my journey into entrepreneurship, is just being able to be around other entrepreneurs who were doing it well. So I remember those times where I would hassle Matt Paulson and, just try to learn what I can, but I always knew that I was on the fence. And, some certain people you need to be all in for, to really get some real attention. And I jumped off the fence,
What was that moment? Do you have a moment where you were like, I'm doing it?
2020.
I'm doing the thing. But what was the moment? Was there like some sort of like epiphany you had, a conversation? Who pushed you? Did you push yourself?
Oh, that's a good question too.
Maybe there wasn't a moment. Sometimes it isn't, but
yeah, no, it's a good question.
It's scary, right?
That's such a good question,
Yeah,
Brienne.
if you don't have it, that's okay. Maybe it'll come to you. But I feel like there's these moments, right, in your journey where you're gonna make that decision. What have there been, so since 2020, since you've started to pursue this venture,
Yeah.
where have the stumbling blocks come, and how have you persevered out of those to get to the next hurdle, if you will? Now I'm speaking your language,
You're
right?
so good too. Yeah. Wow. It's so
So I'll just
much. Like being a founder is a world. Because as a founder, you have the passion, you have the vision, but you don't yet have the systems.
Right.
And you don't have the team, and you don't have the partners.
Right.
And so the challenge is building those things, your system, your team, your partners, and getting it right. Picking the right team members or attracting the right team members. There's certainly been a journey in that. Who surrounds me now today looks different than who surrounded me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And, you learn from the team dynamics of what is a good fit and what isn't. And so needing to go back to the drawing board to get the right fit team engagement for me has been a very valuable part of my experience. Continuing to build around me a team that also thinks differently than me.
Right.
I don't need a lot of Terry Ligginses. Like I do my part well. But in order for us to do best, it's going to be with a diverse team and a diverse personalities and strengths and skills. And the strategic thinkers that are around me very much are a big part of the impact and the growth my organization has been able to do.
Who helps you with your strategy then? Because it sounds like you've got a lot of passion, big ideas. Like, how do you stay on track and get to a place of certainty, right?
Yeah.
A trajectory, if you will. Like, what's your cash flow look like, And down to the nitty gritty. Like, who's helping drive that that process, that vision?
Yeah, I got a great group of advisors and directors.
Awesome.
So my nonprofit has a board of directors. My for-profit has a board of advisors, and I'm in constant communication with people with way more lived experience than me. And they've been in sales. I think of a friend of mine. His name is Dave Janza. I'll just say his name. Right, Dave Janza is a friend of mine. He did sales and marketing for Ditch Witch for years.
Yeah.
And he was one of their best, if not their best. And to have him in my corner now, and as I navigate, how to sell, how to market, how to partner, how to pitch, friends like Dave Janza, who's twice my age with all that experience, help to inform and drive my direction and where I'm going with my business.
Awesome.
And I have a whole team of people like that I just constantly am picking their brains for. When I think about in the nonprofit space and in the DE&I space, I got friends like Kira Kimball, who's in my corner, and been in my corner for a while. She's the head DE&I at the national seat and even international, helps with some of the work in Canada as well. This is a friend of mine. I call them friend-tors.
Friend-tors. I love that.
Friend and mentors. And so I got a great group of friend-tors that honestly, I don't feel worthy enough to even possess, but somehow, for some reason, I feel like for me, the God of my faith says, Terry, you're worth this. This is for your good and for my glory. And I get to just be connected to just amazing, generous people with more experience than me, Brienne, and they help to guide me.
We're going to put a pin in it. This is a good moment to take a break. And when we come back, I want to talk to you about what the future holds for you, one, but also your journey into mentorship and mentoring others.
Okay.
So we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Amos, the Community Coordinator at Startup Sioux Falls, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Start Dakota is hosted by Startup Sioux Falls. We provide resources to make starting a business easier, including events, programs, mentorship, ecosystem navigation, and an actual space. If you have ever aspired to launch something of your own or run a business currently, we want you to join our community. Start with Startup Sioux Falls at startupsiouxfalls.com/start. We're excited to connect with you. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. Now let's get back to the show.
All right, welcome back to Start Dakota. We are here having a pretty passionate conversation.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't expect to with Terry Liggins across the table.
Thank you.
So we've talked a lot about where you've been,
Yeah.
some of the struggles that you've been through to get to where you are today.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about what's next and what is it that you need? What's holding you back? What's going to get you to the next level of the problem that you're trying to solve for this community? What do you need, Terry?
Yeah. The journey in my mind, Brienne, is for more credibility and for more trust.
Mm-hmm.
And where trust is, that's where the partnerships connect. That's where they come together.
Mm-hmm.
I got a mentor in Salt Lake City that helps guide me in the work I want to do in helping those reintegrate into the community from incarceration, from other communities, from treatment, from the military.
Mm-hmm.
We have many community members that are transitioning here from different countries.
Yeah.
And my heart is to create an environment and a safe place for them to have a healthy transition into now their community.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's our community together.
Right.
And he tells me, he says, Terry, people talk to people they like, but they do business with people they trust. And to have such a high likability and not have that mirrored in the list of partners, that identifies to me that there's more trust to be earned and established.
How do you earn that trust?
I believe it comes from being consistent, having integrity. You got to practice what you preach in the coaching game.
Yep.
It's not just about having the theories or the quotes. It's about living it. And so the integrity to practicing what you're preaching is a big part of that. The consistency is a big part of that. And then just how you partner and how you build alliances.
Right.
You know, when you're trying to move towards a common goal and a common good, you have to have this ability to build bridges well.
Yep.
And so that's a skill set too.
So we talked during the break about this particular sector of industry, coaching.
Yeah.
This kind of it's soft sales, right? It's a product that you can't really feel and touch, and you don't necessarily get an immediate ROI on it. And it's been a difficult process to try to sell to the community, depending on who you are and what your story is. And in our line of work, we're seeing a lot of individuals trying to pivot out of whatever job they're in because they have some sort of traumatic experience, lived experience that they're passionate about, and they want to turn that into a coaching business, if you will. What is your advice for these individuals that have this passion in their hearts, saying, I want to give back, I want to be a coach, I want to make a go of it? How much room is there in the marketplace for this?
Yeah.
And how do you know if you've got what it takes?
Yeah, great question. There is room. There is room because your story, the story that you have, someone else has that story too, very similar or the same.
Yep.
And so we all have this ability to take our lived experience and lend it forward to help out other people through that same lived experience. Whether it's something as common as a divorce and you're helping people go through that, or the loss of a loved one, like a grief.
Yep.
All these different places we can build bridges as peers. So when we all possess that, it's when, like you said, where it gets to the point where it's burning so deeply that you're ready to do it for your vocation, that it becomes now a different set of things required to succeed in this space.
Right.
And earlier, like you said, we were talking, we never have the issue with passion or vision. It's really about strategy and team that you also have to really be mindful of to take this into the marketplace.
Right. Good. I get it. Thank you. So I want to transition now over to wearing the hat of a mentor yourself.
Yeah.
And I have to say, so as we were navigating acquiring this grant opportunity through the SBA, we were shaking in our boots, you know, going, are we over our skis as an organization to try to make this type of change happen in our community where we're serving underserved communities that we don't have a strong relationship with? And then we started to realize that with this hub and spoke model, where we're the hub providing resources to spoke organizations that have the knowledge, have the relationships, relationships, know how to navigate and take the tools that we have and modify them to meet the needs of the community. You and Laura have been a shining example of doing just that and doing some unprecedented things in this community where we're serving new Americans, immigrants, people who don't speak English. What has that experience been like for you? And what are you encouraged by as you're going through these cohorts?
It's been so fulfilling and rewarding. And I'm so grateful to Laura for seeing my skill set and my passion and my commitment to, immigrant and refugees and their resettlement. That passion for me started as a freshman in college and just partnering with the International Student Club and making friends with international students and starting to learn more about how their faith fuels them and how their vision drives them. And I've just been able to witness people from back in college go on to just continue to get benchmark after benchmark after benchmark, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctorate degrees. And I've always had a profound inspiration from the immigrant and refugee population. So when Laura invited me to be a part of this, it was so pleasing for me, and the way I've been able to now be an integral part of it, what we like to call in-reach instead of outreach, where you have a person who is a trusted liaison to be able to go into the community, share the information, but they're able to be more receptive of it, because of their trust that you have established with them already.
Right.
In programs traditionally, they just do outreach where they'll just post a flyer or post to the internet or what have you. And there's no perceived trust that comes from a post. The trust comes from the relationship, and the relationships that Laura has in that community, inviting me in to partner with her has just been so rewarding. And we've been able to do some really amazing things with the first two cohorts.
So I got to attend the graduation for the very first Lutheran Social Services cohort. And it was maybe one of the most profound experiences of my career. I'm not kidding you. I could tell that you and Laura made a profound impact on that cohort to a point where I saw the transformation. I saw the engagement, the confidence that they all were exuding, most of which English was not their native language. None of them, in fact.
Right.
What was that experience like for you? And do you have a story that you can share of a transformation within that cohort that really spoke to your heart?
Oh, absolutely. So many stories.
Sure. Throw a rock. But
we had 17 students in that cohort, and there was 13 different countries that were represented in that, and so many different languages and dialects, and so very multilingual cohort. And the thing about that population, people that have come through hard things and are being guided by their aspiration, they have a sense of community and togetherness that they're really ready to loan pretty eagerly, to really bring you into a family feel. And that's really what I feel like distinguishes even my ability as a facilitator. I come with such a sincere heart, for the people I'm getting to work with. Laura comes with such a sincere heart. And so together, when we collaborated on this, there was such a sincerity in the room about your best interest being in mind and us really being together in this and for one another, that when we had the opportunity to cultivate that week after week after week after week, it really turned into what you experienced at the graduation. And there's so many people who had breakthroughs and breakouts through the CO.STARTERS program. But one person that sticks out to me in particularly is a student graduate we had. Her name is Izumi. And Izumi is originally from Japan and very, very, true to her culture, and where she's very meek and she's very silent and she's very pleasant and very in tuned. And so for the first few weeks, Izumi was there, but Izumi wasn't as vocal. And we started to notice that. That's one of the benefits of having dual facilitators is that, what one facilitator isn't seeing, the other one can see. Even that cross-gender as well, because the men will attract and be inspired so much by the male gender, and so then the female, the opposite. And so Laura and I, having that awareness, we were always able to kind of see what the other people person wasn't, and then partner together to make sure that we're reaching everyone. And there was a moment in the program where we were on a break, and we were connecting during the break, and Izumi reached out to me and was just telling me that she had very low confidence as it pertains to using English because it wasn't her first language.
Yeah.
Well, LSS also provides English language learning classes as well. So it was a prime opportunity for me to then hear that need and connect her with Laura in a way that, Laura, here's a barrier she's having, and here's something that I believe LSS can help with. But then after that introduction, then there was a greater attention. Laura was able to then bring in some of her expertise and specialization in helping Izumi to grow in that confidence of using the words and being more vocal in the class. And each week after week, she became more and more and more vocal. You pair that with my ambition and my drive and my encouragement,
Fireworks.
all of a sudden, Izumi was just ready to do it. And now she is doing it.
I'll never forget her pitch. It was so magical, heartfelt.
Yeah.
You could tell she really
and she's still at
thrived.
She's still at it. She opened the yoga studio.
Right? Yep.
She has classes once a month.
I'm
one of her paying customers, just like I said I would be.
Yes.
Laura also supports her. Other members from our class supports her.
Yep.
People are bringing their friends. And Izumi, before Co-Starters, had the vision, did not have the confidence, didn't have the structure, didn't have enough faith to go out and do it. And after Co-Starters, she did.
Yeah.
And it continues to do the work right now. And is now in the community, in the marketplace, providing exactly what she wanted to.
Awesome.
It's
Thank
amazing.
you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
We're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk about the future.
Okay.
The future of both the Hurdle Life Coach and Terry Liggins, where he's headed, but also where are we headed as an entrepreneurial community? We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Business Minute, a recurring segment powered by the SBA, where we'll share business facts and resources available to entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. Small Business Administration. This is Sadie Sweer, Executive Director of SD CEO East Women's Business Center. Did you know, in 2018, immigrants owned 18% of employer firms? The industries with the greatest share of immigrant workers were accommodation and food services, looking at 37% of those, and retail trade, 24% of those. Interested in starting a business or already own a business? There are many free resources available. One of those resources is Startup Sioux Falls Co.STARTERS Business Accelerator Program. Co.STARTERS is a 10-week program designed to provide you with the insights, relationships, and tools to turn your ideas into action and a sustainable business. Startup Sioux Falls is proud to partner with the following organizations to expand the delivery of the Co.STARTERS Business Accelerator: LSS Center for New Americans, MB, Dakota Resources, and Thunder Valley. We are offering this program through the Community Navigator Pilot Program, powered by the Small Business Administration. Learn more about Co.STARTERS and the Community Navigator Pilot Program at startupsiouxfalls.com/start.
Okay, welcome back to Start Dakota. I'm here with Changemaker Terry Liggins.
Yeah.
We're just kind of talking about everything, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
I think we're maybe going to get to world peace by the end of this conversation.
I would
I'm
love
hopeful.
that.
I'm
Yes.
hopeful. So we just finished talking about your experience facilitating through Co.STARTERS, through the Lutheran Social Services cohort. And again, that experience for me, from what I saw, was profound. And I can't even imagine all that you gleaned from it.
Yep.
So Startup Sioux Falls as an organization is going to be at a crossroads here soon, where this grant funding that we have through the SBA, which we are so grateful to have, it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got this infusion of cash. We're going to do what we can with the time that we have. And part of this is a learning experience for our community to say, how do we take the tools that we have, the knowledge that we have, knowing that, like, a lot of us are not bilingual. We are not world travelers. A lot of us are homegrown here in the state of South Dakota. We're trying to make inroads.
Yeah.
But this program has offered us that opportunity to see how we meet communities where they're at.
Yeah.
What does the future hold? What are you seeing so far through this program that you think can carry on, grant or no grant?
Yeah.
What do we need to continue to invest in to make these communities thrive?
Yeah. The answer is cultural humility. And the cultural humility is a posture and a mindset that allows for all of us to stay in that learner seat as it pertains to working with people from different cultures than we have, our primary culture.
Yep.
You know, Sioux Falls is filled with so many different cultures, so many different languages, so many different ethnicities. And that's a strength, and it's beautiful to see. But in order to leverage it, we have to keep the humility intact where we allow the people from that culture to be a part of the leadership, a part of the influence, that they're getting the support to be the positive impact that then is now able to reach more of that cultural base.
Got it.
And so when we have a position of privilege or advantage that we can loan and that we can lend, that'll allow for us to do more investing in that way, that's how we partner with each other and still at the same time not have to necessarily change who we are, right? You don't have to learn another language in order to be an advocate or an ally or a supporter of those who speak different languages. Now, it's certainly a advantage if you can, and it's certainly an asset when you're working with people who do. So for me, I'm multilingual. I speak a couple different languages. I'm intentional about that. My cross-cultural, not only communication skills, but listening skills are there as well. But there's others like me with that same skill set. And when we empower more people with that cross-cultural communication skills, listening skills, and give them the resources they need to be the leadership that draws more, that's where we're really going to be able to see the type of results we want to as we move forward together.
If we're talking dollars and cents here, if we're talking about return on investment, so those business people listening that, you know, fluff. Okay, we're talking dollars now. We're talking impact.
There we go.
Wouldn't you agree that the work that you're doing, either volunteer-wise or otherwise, is affecting the workforce specifically?
Yes.
What is this doing to bolster workforce development in our community?
Well, what coaching and mentorship does, it not only brings people to more confidence and self-assurance in themselves, it brings them to stability.
Right.
And so when you have stability and confidence and assurance, and that's what you carry into the workplace, whether it's your business or someone else's business, that's going to show up in how you engage and how you perform. And the higher you perform, the better off the outcomes is for that business or that organization. When people or companies are struggling with their bottom line or their performance and their outputs, it's because of disengagement from their workforce. Well, what causes the workforce to disengage? Typically, it's other things, some things inside of the work, but other times it's things within themselves or outside of work.
Absolutely.
And that's where the mentorship and the coaching professionals play a role in helping people to get more clarity, get more confidence, and establish more stability now that they can go to work with more assurance and higher performance. And that increases and hits the bottom line in a positive way.
Do you see interest from the private sector in the work that you're doing? Are you working with existing industry corporations? Are they reaching out? Do they see the value in this?
And to be candid, not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Okay.
You know,
But some.
Yeah, some. You know, and I had to say the not enough first on that one because there's just so much more work to do in business.
Absolutely.
You know, I've had a few clients here and there along my way with my 3 years of doing this work, and I tip my hat to those organizations. But our community still has a lot of room to grow in that area for corporate sponsors to really get behind this work of what it means to be equitable and inclusive in our work environment
Sure.
and spaces. You know, I get to do work also with the organization Pathways to Inclusive and Equitable Workplaces. It means the world to me and all of the people that help us to lead that.
Yep.
And we are grateful for our partnership with our Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And we're looking at partnering with our Society for Human Resource Management and looking for more strategic alignment.
Yep.
But we continue to still not have that foothold that this community will benefit from when we can grow that even more so.
Absolutely.
You know, I will tip my hat to organizations that have come alongside of us, like First Premier Bank. I would be remiss because an
We love First
organization
Premier
like
Bank.
First Premier that has made the commitment should be recognized.
Absolutely.
First Bank and Trust, another organization, has made the commitment and does the work, at least as it pertains to the things that we do at
Right.
Hurdle Life. And so there is Avera does great investment.
Those aren't small companies. Those are major Goliath companies here in town.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine there's a ripple effect, right?
That's what we're
they
hoping
see the
for.
value, they go tell their colleagues.
Yeah.
And this movement will continue to grow.
That's
that
what
would
we're
be
hoping for.
my hope for you.
Yeah.
So that leads to my final question, and this is more toward you and your growth and your business. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Terry? And what do you need to get there?
I'm doing the same work that I'm doing now, you know, providing a skill set and a mindset that helps us to build bridges cross-culturally. I'm going to continue to do this work because it's a need in our community. You know, our community, you can see it growing, the buildings and the population.
Yep.
And that is going to create this salad bowl and this mix of so many cultures and people. And all of our cultures are beautiful. Every last one of them. No matter what it is, no matter which part of the world it's from, whether it's European, African, Asian, or any other beautiful culture, Lakota, African American, all of the cultures are rich with tradition and ritual and deserve to be honored so that we all can be safe and feel safe. I'm going to continue to be that guy for this community that says, yes, we're different, but your differences are beautiful and that they're valuable. So I'm going to just keep doing that work. And that for me is enough to get up every day and work towards the next partnership with a stakeholder that just wants to create a more connected community that where everyone feels safe and has opportunities to thrive and to grow.
We are inundated with information, technology, stress. Things are happening in the world that are unsettling right now. What is something that you do for yourself, whether it's something you say to yourself, something that you do every single day that keeps you going, even when like it's so easy to go down a dark rabbit hole and want to give up. What keeps you going? Give us that.
Two things do that for me. One is my gratitude, my practice of gratitude, and the other is my practice of reflection. I think when I find myself not feeling like I've done enough, I need to reflect and see how much I've already accomplished. And so just spending some time thinking about where I once was and now where I'm at today, I can see the growth. I can see the benchmarks. I can see things like graduating from Leadership Sioux Falls and things that I can be proud of that has happened for me. I can see those anniversaries of my company come and go and know that I am still doing it and the boat is still floating and the flag is still flying. And so that reflection, Brienne, really helps me as I look at the work that is still to be accomplished. And gratitude is such an important practice. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. And what happens is we will get the anxiety from what we don't possess yet, whether it's an income goal or a community goal or whatever the goal is something that hasn't been accomplished yet. And the anxiety kind of comes from what you don't have yet. Also, regret comes from when you're reflecting and all of a sudden you're thinking about the things you could have done differently. But gratitude keeps you in the day. Gratitude shields you from the regret of the past, protects you from the anxiety of the future, grounds you in the moment right where your feet are at. And when you can stay grounded in the now and see the abundance in the day, that will keeps me going, you know, despite what I haven't done yet or the things that I've already overcome.
You're a wise man. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all you do for this community. This isn't the last we're going to see from Terry Liggins, I'll tell you that, folks. And if you haven't reached out to this man, you need to know him.
Yeah.
We're going to come back after the break and we're going to have a little fun.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you in a bit.
Hey, this is Jeff Hayward with Startup Sioux Falls. Welcome back to the Co-Starters Challenge, a recurring segment where we'll provide some tips for launching or growing your startup, as well as an action you can take called fieldwork. In our last episode, we learned about the importance of developing a clear marketing message focusing on the customer's problem and your solution. But a message alone isn't enough. Your customer has to hear it. You could have the greatest sales pitch in the world, but if you're shouting into an empty room, it's all for nothing. How you deliver your message might be creating a following through content creation like a blog, or maybe an email marketing list with an autoresponder to automate a month's worth of onboarding emails to your new subscribers. Social media is an incredibly powerful tool as a cost-effective way to deliver your message as well and should not be neglected. Okay, for fieldwork, research methods of marketing and choose one or two to begin with and add them to your canvas. And think outside the box. Maybe there's a way to deliver your message that can differentiate you from your competitors. Good luck on your fieldwork, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Again, I'm here with Mr. Terry Liggins, who's been dropping knowledge right and left. Like, I need to write down all of the wise things that you're saying.
Yeah, thank you.
But we're going to take a break from our brains for a minute and just do a little lightning round.
All right.
I kind of just want to know a little bit more about Terry day to day.
Yeah.
So first question, Google Workspace or Outlook?
Google Workspace.
Okay. Any particular reason why? Just prefer it?
Yeah, it's just what I fell into.
Yeah.
I think, when it came to the tool, the Google was introduced first, and then I became just really comfortable with that software. So my Google Calendar drives my activity.
Same
for sure.
Yeah.
My Google Drive, I got a bunch of stuff
What
in
would
there.
we do without it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
I like both.
Okay.
I do like both. I have one. I'm not a super big coffee drinker, so I just have 1 cup a day.
Okay.
You know, if it's an organic,
I probably should only have one a day.
organic instant blend that's really, really good and has a reishi mushroom infused in it. So it's healthy in that way. And then tea can really be spiritual.
Yes.
And healing in some ways. So tea is actually part of my spiritual art practice to kind of
Favorite
have
tea?
tea.
What's your tea?
I like green tea.
Just green tea. Oh, that's caffeinated.
That helps.
Yeah, it can. Hoodie or blazer?
Blazer.
I see you as a blazer guy.
Yeah.
Especially with that hat.
Yeah.
Love that hat.
Yeah.
Beer or wine? Do you partake?
I used to.
Okay.
Now I'm over the hump about 5 years.
Okay.
So I'm a mocktail guy.
Congratulations. So what's your go-to mocktail?
I like mocktails with ginger and lime. Ginger's good for the stomach and stuff, and lime is that nice little citrus.
Have you ever had any of the kombucha?
Yes.
The booch? Do
I
you like it?
kombucha, yeah.
Yeah?
I
Okay.
do.
Cool. We can get along. Let's see. Summer or winter for you, sir?
Summer.
Yeah.
My birthday's in the summer.
Oh, is it?
June 10th.
Okay. What's
That's
your
right.
sign?
Gemini.
Gemini.
Yeah.
Just at the tail end of the Gemini
Yeah.
spectrum there.
I'm a both guy a lot, so this is really tough for me.
I see that.
Yeah.
Salty food or sweet food?
Sweet.
And what's your favorite snack?
I like sweet potato pie.
Do you make it yourself?
No,
Where do you get it?
I let my mom or my sister, grandma. Banana pudding.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's go banana pudding. There was fights in my childhood home about banana pudding.
Why?
I was like, it's so good.
Oh,
Yeah.
just fighting about
Not
how
enough.
good it is?
Not enough to go
enough?
around. You know, first come, first serve, and saving enough for the rest of the family and things like that.
So we have so many restaurants in Sioux Falls. Do you have a favorite restaurant
I don't have a
or
favorite.
consistent one that you go to often?
La Luna Cafe.
Oh, I love La
La
Luna.
Luna.
Absolutely.
They've got an amazing hot chocolate,
Mhm.
great teas,
Mhm.
clean food,
Mhm.
excellent presentation,
Absolutely.
wonderful, beautiful view.
Yep.
Falls right out,
It's
right
an
outside.
underutilized
Uptown
space.
Sioux Falls, La Luna Cafe. I really enjoy that
100%
place.
co-sign on that one for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And then I think that's it.
So
Unless
good.
you have anything else you want to share about what don't we know about Terry Liggins?
Well,
Do you got any little trivia for us? That's something
Uh,
we would be shocked to know about you.
shocked to know about me.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty open book.
Yeah,
So
I figured as
you know,
much.
that's part of my strength is how much
Yep.
I've already shared.
Yeah.
But my oldest child is 22 years old.
22?
Yeah, I've had quite the journey
How do you
of
have a
parenting.
22-year-old?
I became a teen dad.
Oh, right.
You know, so you know, just the adversities and some of the struggles I had. Part of that is becoming a teen dad, and
Yeah.
so my oldest is 22 years old.
Goodness gracious. Well, I've seen you interact with children, and I can tell you've got a gift for it.
Yeah.
So if you want to take mine, just let me know.
Yeah, Corey's got your back. Shouts out to Corey
Corey Poor, no
Yeah,
doubt.
Shouts out.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Terry.
you, Brienne.
You have been a delight.
Yeah.
Um,
Same. That's what I would say. It's such a gratitude for
Yeah.
just how you have welcomed me here and I asked me questions that really got to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
I know we work to get to the head of the matter as well and help
Yes.
people to see in the business community why the heart and the mind and the spirit matters. But I just really appreciate how you've invited me to be my whole self and I've been able to pour out so much of what's important to me.
Feelings mutual.
So good.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for Start Dakota. Visit our website at startupsiouxfalls.com to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you enjoyed the show, please tell a friend to rate our show on iTunes. If you are a founder and aspiring entrepreneur, you can get started by visiting our website at startupsiouxfalls.com/start. Start Dakota is made possible by funding from the U.S. Small Business Administration. With this funding, Startup Sioux Falls is piloting an expanded version of its CO.STARTERS Business Accelerator program and providing additional resources to support underserved founders. Start with Startup Sioux Falls.